Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping in bed. No more backward thinking, time for getting this bread. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that Green Screens Media train. Welcome to One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. And we are powered by drroto.com. I am your humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow me, and I will smash that follow back button. So let's get right to one of the best in the business to do it on a live before lock Saturday morning. It's El Capitan himself, the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. I do the train, he does the ship. Follow him on X at MC Holland34, the OG Money Mike. That's Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do, baby?
What's up, man? We're both back from the injury report. I know we were questionable with illness throughout the week, so glad to be back in these streets. I heard that singing voice, little crack in the singing voice there, but it's still got it there. Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is a huge slate, and we got a One and Done invitational again. Dude. So we will drop that link, little $3 entry, top 3. Max 20 spots to fill. I think we got 5 or 6 people already in there. So looking forward to that. And then, yeah, man, we got some coin we can rack up today on this big slate. There's no NFL. Obviously got the Super Bowl the following weekend. But, yeah, today it's really about college basketball, and the slate could not be any bigger. All these top 10 matchups. So it's just going to be sit on the couch today and just watch a ton of college basketball, my friend.
It is a beautiful day to be a college basketball fan, and it is a beautiful day to be in the live chat. It is on fire. Taylor dropping in early. Let's get it. Playmaker 23 workbench. What's up, Brad? That's right. Let's get it. Our guy Napesy Hustle on the road must have had a pit stop real quick so we could type in that live before lock. Let's get this bread. Absolutely, Napesy Hustle. Give him a follow at The Real Napier. And then also our guy at Fantasy Nav. Eric the Blue, not too far away ever. We got BD816. Here we go. Yeah, Jeremy Wilson. Let's go beat Duke. Man, what a slate. GTHC.
Go to hell, Carolina.
I learned that one this morning. I learned that one. So very good. I like it a lot. And the kid dropping in dub. I hope you like the dub for the opening song, even with the crack in the voice there. But biggest slate of the year. Okay. Liking it. Leon Robinson dropping in. Let's get it, fellas. Leon, we are going to get it today for sure. And then, of course,
Mama
faithful Mama Rocks. Good to see you in the chat. There is the link up on your screen for that One and Done invitational. Some spots left in there. Just a friendly $3 competition. So get on in there. Let's have some fun with your broskies and broskets in basketball over on DK. And that's why we are here, of course. This massive 12-game slate going on this morning. Big Jam, 2K to first, and then the $60 King of the Bracket seat up. Oh, no, wait. Nope. I shortchanged it. It ain't 2K to first.
We're used to 2K.
Not 1. Not 2, not 3. Now we're going 5K to first today.
Love it.
With that $60 King of the Bracket seat. Keep that live chat going. Make sure you smash those like and subscribe buttons as well. Show your broskies and basketball some love here on One and Done. Turn those notification bells on so you know when we're going live before lock, especially on a kick-ass Saturday morning slate like today's. A 12-game slate, like I said. Some totals that just make you want to go hide, but some and some okay games on here for sure. But Mike, really, it's the injuries that are the main focus this morning.
Yeah, so a bit of a look at an overview. It's injury season, I guess, in college basketball. If it's not an ankle, it's an illness. If it's not an illness, it's a torn labrum. We got it all for you. So a quick rundown on this because these are keys to the slate. Malik Renew from Indiana injured ankle 3 minutes into the last game, which was Tuesday. He came out on crutches, so it doesn't look great for him. Xavier Johnson, also in that same game, suffered an elbow injury. So Indiana guard Xavier Johnson, questionable as well. I don't think he's going to play, man. It didn't look great. He didn't practice on Thursday. So looking like both of those Indiana guys are going to be out. Kanye Clary was a late scratch on Wednesday due to a facial injury he received last Sunday. Alex Caravan, he injured his ankle during Wednesday's game. Coach Hurley said it was stiff and he was compromised. So it'll be interesting if he goes today in a big matchup against St. John's. Matthew Cleveland in danger of missing his third game, the guard from Miami. So we'll see. He's got a nagging hip. Miami, obviously, those guys, they play a pile of minutes, and it's always nice when you get one of them out because it makes all the other guys a little more viable since they're pretty solid price tags on those guys. Pharrell Payne from Minnesota, he's got a back injury. He played through it against Wisconsin last week, but sat out the last game. Trevon Brazil from Arkansas has got a knee injury. He's missed back-to-back games. I don't think he plays in this one. We'll have to pay attention, especially because we know how volatile Arkansas is just in general. And then Cam Jones, I think the last Saturday, I believe, he had the ankle issue, ended up starting, but then he exited after 5 minutes. So, didn't play on Monday. And then, the matchup today against Georgetown, it feels like this is the spot where they can just sit him. So we'll see what happens with Cam Jones. Feels like he's kind of one of the keys to the slate as well. And then Bryce Thompson, Torres Labrum for Oklahoma State. I think he's out for the season. Says could, but it's a pretty serious injury this late into the season. So there it is, Jay. And there's probably some that we don't know about that are going to come out 20 minutes before before lock. So
yeah.
Feltman here jumping into the comments. Shout out to the injury gods giving us value on a Saturday slate. Yeah, me and Jay, we were talking about that, Micah. Appreciate you jumping into the comments. There are a lot more names on the board. Now, it seems like the past 3 or 4 slates, it's been 4 or 5 names. You're just hoping to hit one. This time maybe hitting on 2 or 3 of these guys should hopefully exceed 4X. So it's just figuring out which ones are going to be able to do that. So, Jay, I know I gave a bunch of injury reports there, man. What are your feelings on kind of the slate overall?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the value there that Micah was talking about. There's 16 guys over 8K on this slate, but there's plenty of value options. Obviously, there's no Zach Edey here, so we don't have to worry about that decision.
Thank God.
Which is, even though the decision is always to smash the button, it seems like these days, because he's going for 65 or whatever on a nightly basis. But plenty of value, like Micah was saying. But the issue here is there's not a total over 153. So there's not a game that you can just jump at and look and like, oh, this is one that I immediately want to stack or something like that. There's not 1 or 2 games that separate themselves from the pack. But on the flip side of that, we've got 4 games under 140. So
yeah.
But don't worry about that. We're going to cover every single one of these games and run them all down for you guys and gals hanging out with us today. Yeah, Mike Witt's back in the chat. The chat's popping off already. Need someone in there to take this one down. Yeah, let's do it today. Let's figure this out. Let's get that 5K.
I want 5,000.
Yeah, I'd be okay. I'd be all right with it. And then Cam back in C Thuggin. What up? Let's get this bread, Cam. I'm with you. Looking forward to seeing everybody up on the leaderboards. Let's get to the vaunted and world famous Core 4 and more. It's not just a Core 4 for cash game, Core 4. No, not just cash. We're going to give you cash and tournament Core 4s here. So, Mike, why don't you start us off with the cash game Core 4? What are we going to do with the cash games?
Yeah, it pops up right here. Appreciate the production team. We're going to go with we're going to go heavy with Marquette here. Obviously playing Georgetown, they play 0 defense. So I love looking at Chase Ross, especially if Cam Jones is out. Ross played a pile of minutes. We didn't really get the news that he was going to be playing. We all went to Ben Gold, and he was like 55%. And then Gold starts, but then he only plays like 13, 14, or 15 minutes or whatever it was. Chase Ross comes in. back from the dead, drops a nice score. So he's now 4,100. If Cam Jones is obviously confirmed out, he's probably going to be the most popular value play. You can play him in cash or in tournaments. But for our sake, we'll put him in the cash lineup. Oso Ighodaro, a guy that we gotta now put into consideration every single slate. It feels weird, right? He was always a tournament option, but he's just been so damn consistent over the last couple of weeks. He's 8,400. Georgetown obviously struggles. He should be able to put up a double-double. He's got a nice assist rate. I should be able to block a couple of shots. So Oso in there at 8,400. A guy that is basically a staple. You could probably just leave him in our cash lineups every single slate that he's on. Reese Beekman from Virginia just has to do so much for this offense. And just like high steal rate, high assist rate to go along with it. So Reese Beekman at 8,300. Definitely a lock for cash. He's basically a lock up until he gets to like 9,200 or so. You basically lock him in at 9K. He's going to give you 35 essentially every slate at least. So Sean Padula rounding this out, the guard from Virginia Tech at 7,800. So you love the matchup against Miami, pace up game. So that's going to rock out our cash core there. It leaves you with 5,350 left, Jay. So I know some of these guys are viable in tournaments like Padula and Ross, but I'm taking those guys off the board, and you're gonna have to go with some other options. What do you got?
Yeah, that's all right. Honestly, just while you were talking, I was thinking about other ways to incorporate your core cats, as we like to say, into mine. But here's the deal. With tournament play, right, we go a little bit more towards some volatility and upside plays. So I'm going to start with Kel'el Ware at 8.2K for Indiana. Bigs, they smash against Penn State. We say that every time Penn State is on the slate, we know we're going to hammer any big that's playing against them. So I'll go Kel'el Ware at 8.2. Tyler Kolek, one of my favorite players to watch in the country, 40 last time out against Georgetown in that ugly blowout, just disgusting 30-point blowout that they had. Then I'm going to go to Fort Worth and Emmanuel Miller at TCU at 7.3K. Highest total on the board, highest shot rate on the team. I know we say that there would be no math, but those are all good numbers and they are going up. So we're going to go Emmanuel Miller. And then Layden Blocker for Arkansas. Here's where some value comes in here. We talked about that volatility before I started here. It is a scary play, but if Blocker plays 30 minutes, he is golden. So that's why I have him in there. Kel'el Ware, Tyler Kolek, Emmanuel Miller, and Layden Blocker. Before we take this off the screen, production team, can we slide Chase Ross into this one and see what we have left per player? What does that say?
Looks like 5,700, 5,733.
So I'm just saying, you go from 53.25 to over 57, gives you a little bit more flexibility per player. I do like Chase Ross a lot in this one, again, in either format. So, good stuff here, guys and gals. Make sure you utilize some of those. Again, the core fours are to use for, especially if you're doing mass entry, mix guys in, work them in. It's not necessarily always going to be those four cats, but definitely players that we recommend being in the beginning of your lineups, just guys to work around. So make sure you use that properly. Hey, guys and gals, make sure you smash those like and subscribe buttons. Show us some love. But also, we see the live chat's been on fire. Let's keep that going. So, give us your ideas that you have for this slate, some of your 1-and-1s, some of your questions that you have, whatever you've got going on. Let us know what you need to know about this slate. We will hop on it. We're covering all 12 games, but leave us something in the chat and make sure you let us know what you need to know. So, the one and done invitational too. Is that full yet?
I don't know.
There's probably 15 spots left in there. So
15. We got about 7 spots left.
Hit that link. Get in the one and done invitation. It's a $3 or $3 turning today. There's the link flashed up on the screen there. It's in the live chat as well. So
Jason B.
Let's go.
Never renew.
Hashtag never renew.
Oh, man. There you go,
Excellent. Good stuff,
Jason.
Jason. Thanks for hopping in the chat again. Always good to see you in there. But let's get into the slate now. We're going to run down all of these games, and we're going to start with Arkansas on the road in Baton Rouge. Mike, give us the lowdown on Eric Musselman's Razorbacks.
Yeah, this game, 150 total, and I feel like it's the key to the slate. If you can figure out Arkansas, you will probably win lots of money, because here's what happens. 5 guys start one game, and then 5 different guys start the next game, and then 5 different guys start the next game, and 5 different guys start the next game after that. But within all of that, you've got multiple guys starting that don't play very many minutes, and then guys that haven't played in 3 games come in and play 30 minutes. So that makes it very confusing. But I digress. The one guy that you will find as close to a consistent piece on this team is Tremont Mark. He's 7.9K, 27% usage rate, a 27% shot rate during conference play. So if you want to use Tremont Mark, he's kind of a pay-up option. He definitely has some upside in this matchup. I'm finding the forward position kind of annoying. Like Mekhi Mitchell at 6.4, he's got back-to-back 40s in 32 and 34 minutes. Like if you told me, and we select to play this game, if you told me he played 32 minutes, he's got big upside. He's shown that. He's flashed that. I just don't know if he's going to play 32 to 34 minutes. I feel much safer playing Jalen Graham, who I'm finding in a lot of my lineups. Banging the drum for him for all season, even the end of last year when we were out in Vegas for the Western Regional, and they just now starting to give him some run, and he's been able to produce. I mean, he's 5.2, a guy that can throw up a ton of fantasy points in 26 minutes last game, put up nearly 33 fantasy points. So I will be going to Jalen Graham, hoping not to get burned by Mekhi Mitchell or like a Chandler Lawson. And then there's the guards you can look at. We obviously had Layden Blocker in our core there, but you have to kind of start with Kenyon Minifield. He's 4.3K. Look, Ellis, he's disappeared, I guess. I mean, he's benched last game, played 32 minutes. The game started, played 32 minutes. They lost the game. Then he got benched. So I don't think he's going to be in the rotation. And Minifield during conference play, he actually has the highest shot rate on the team at 28%. So he's another good value option to look at. And then Layden Blocker. I mean, he was dusted off, and now he's starting. He's so volatile, though, so it doesn't feel great. But for tournaments, you love to use him. I mean, price adjusted, he's probably going to get 28 to 30 minutes and be the best play on the team. So, you know, you'd love the shot rate to be a little bit higher, but he's a guy that can get some steals, get some assists. I don't know, man. Like, it just feels like if you figure out what's going to happen on this Arkansas side, then you're pretty much set, because it's an 11 a.m. game. The lines are going to be drawn by the time this game's over, because either you got it right or you didn't get it right, Jay. So I know we spent a little more time. You know, we want to try to get you guys out of here by 11:30 Eastern. So, but this is the side I feel like is the most important. So let's kick it over to you for the LSU side, man. What do you think about this 10-man rotation they have? And you kind of know who's at least getting minutes, which is different than the Arkansas side.
Yeah. This 10-man rotation that LSU has is annoying as hell, but you do know who's playing on most nights. Jordan Wright is at 8.6K, and we've hated his price tag for a long time. This isn't anything new for how I'm feeling about Jordan Wright in this moment. Yeah, he's got 40 fantasy point upside, sure, but don't like the matchup here. I just feel like there's better spots if you're going to drop 8.6K. Jalen Cook at 7.1. Foul trouble last game, and then there was a blowout, obviously. So it looks bad if you're game log watching. But what attracts you to Cook here is the rates: 30% usage rate, 33% shot rate, 21% assist rate, and then the 3% steal rate. So like our guy Eric likes to say, he can chip and he can dip a little bit. You like that the price has fallen here, especially in a large field. I like Jalen Cook a lot. Sneaky option there. Tyrell Ward at 4.7K.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Listen, hey, well, I wish he was a little cheaper, okay? Yeah, I get it. I wish a little bit, maybe 4.3, 4.2. But listen, after missing one game, put up 17 fantasy points. Last 4 games he's played, he's been 16 plus. But he's on the value board. He's got to be on your board for value plays because sometimes knowing what you're going to get at a floor matters too. You can't have duds. No duds or nobody with the duds winning 5K.
Yeah.
All right. So Ward has to be in your player pool for sure. Corey hopping in that live chat. Yeah, look at the morning sun. We're used to seeing the light of the moon for sure. Now we're coming to you live on this Saturday morning, Corey. Hope to see you. And if you didn't know, Corey is, of course, the king of the single entry, as we have dubbed him around these parts. And then Ryan jumping in, Dizu season. Dizu. I got the Z's. I got the Z sounds on the Dizu season. Yeah, Dizu season.
I want it to be Dizu season.
Yeah, exactly. Horns up. Yep, that's right. We got it, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
Jason B don't want no dubs either, man. You don't want no duds, man. Only the good place today, Jay.
Duds don't get no 5K on DK. All right, here we go. No duds for sure, Jason, for sure. Let's hit into this second game we're going to cover here. Oh my goodness. I mean, from a basketball purist perspective, UConn at St. John's. Mike, number 1 team in the country and a dangerous team led by one of the best coaches in the history of the game. UConn's 4-point favorites on the road against the Johnnies, Mike. Man, this is one where I'd like to be there. I'll just say that.
Right. From a fantasy perspective, I guess the game is just okay from like just a watching standpoint. I'm going to be watching some of this game.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm flipping around to so many games today. Had a couple of TVs set up today. But Tristan Newton, man, like 8.4, you just know what you're going to get. Like serious consideration for the cash score. 36, 34, 39, 37, 34, 46. You just know you're going to get 35 to 40. So you definitely love that. He has massive rates. He's our cover boy. I would say he's not a cash lock because I wouldn't say like you just have to just jam him in there because this is on the road. I feel like St. John's is going to give UConn a run here. So I think he's in play for obviously cash and tourney. I'm not in love with a lot from this UConn side, which it feels weird to say. Like the Alex Caravan news makes things a little more interesting. Like if he's out, and someone like Stephon Castle at 7K. He's probably the biggest winner. He'd be locked into like 30 plus minutes again in conference play. He's got a 24% usage rate, 21% shot rate, a 20% rebounding rate, 23% assist rate, and a 2% block and steal rate. So Castle going to soak up a lot of Caravan's kind of shots and usage there. And then obviously we get the minutes. I wish he was like $500 cheaper. Would really try to jam him into some tournaments at that point, but just kind of tough to pay 7K, especially when Donovan Klingen's 6.7. It's weird to say this. He hasn't topped 20 minutes yet since he's been back. And I know that obviously there's a blowout with Xavier in there. So I'm scared to say like I'm not going to play him. But right now I'm not finding him in any of my lineups. I've already built 12. And now when it comes down to, right before lock, I'll probably get at least 1 or 2 in, but kind of a wait and see. Like if he doesn't play, I feel like he needs, especially with Soriano on the other side, it feels like he needs 25 minutes. So Jay, what say you about the old St. John side? It's been frustrating, but at least some of the guys are going to be getting most of the run.
Yeah, before we get to the Johnnies, I got a couple of questions here, Mike, in the live chat. Ryan hopping in, can you play Minifield and Blocker together? Hard to trust.
Oh, God. I mean, you can. You're not going to have fun when Khalif Battle, who was a little nicked up last game, I think he's 5,400. He could play 35 minutes, and then one of those guys' minutes gets cut. You can do it, but it's definitely terrifying. So I'm finding myself just playing. I think I have one of the 12 lineups with both of them, and the rest I'm just gonna split it and just play 50-50 essentially on all. But I'm playing them on each one on every or one of them on every single lineup. So it's just I don't want to be married to both of them on one lineup, more than one lineup, I should say.
Yeah, and then Cam hopping in. If Caravan is out, do we think Clingan gets more minutes? Clingan is cheap today for him. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I don't know because it's weird. Like whenever one of the bigs is out, it seems like they go smaller. So when Clingan was out, Caravan would move to the 5. They play some Samson Johnson at the 5, and then he would only play like 20-something minutes, and then they would slide Caravan to the 5 and bring in Hassan Diarra to play a smaller lineup, and give them an extra guard and a little more playmaking. So if Caravan's out, I could see Clingan getting 22 to 25 minutes. I don't know that they want to rush him back, you know what I mean, as far as like his conditioning. So, he's been very fragile lately, and I just kind of worry about that. What I got, Mama Rocks feels like St. John's UConn game maybe. Yeah, it could be defensive.
It's two top 50 teams in defensive efficiency. It definitely could have more of a defensive feel to it, Mama Rocks. That's true. And the kid, if Caravan is out, it's a Stephen Castle game. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's It's hard to figure some of this stuff out, right? But we're gonna have to pay attention to see if Caravan is out. But it definitely makes this side more playable, like you were saying, Mike. If he is, especially because they're good defensively, so it sort of shrinks that player pool. Obviously, let's hop over to the Johnnies. Yeah, Ryan, no problem, man. You got it. Absolutely. Let's get the spread. St. John's, we got another team here that plays 10, sometimes 11 guys, which is another annoying team for me to talk about here. I love Joel Soriano as a player, and obviously he's gone bonkers twice against Xavier this year, going over 50 both times. But against any other Big East opponent, he hasn't gotten over 36. This was 35 against UConn in the first matchup, right? But there was no clean, and it's going to make it hard for me to click his name at 8.6 right now in this matchup. Dennis Jenkins at 7.5K, 23 fantasy points in 37 minutes at UConn in the first game. In terms of just feeling, if you take some chances in the core with the core 4 guys with the volatility and you want to feel a safer play, maybe, I think Jenkins at 7.5K is a guy that you can feel good about. Leads the team in shot and assist rate. And I guess it is because of the matchup, it might be more of a secondary play. But again, if you're looking for a safe, if something just like that security blanket after some volatility, Jenkins could be a guy to go with. Chris Ledlam with the guard forward eligibility that we like, the starting pitcher as a relief pitcher. Fantasy baseball is open, by the way. Let's get in that. I love that stuff for sure. But we love the dual eligibility is the point there. And Ledlam is the only other guy really locked into a big role on this side. He's always in play with his ability to fill up all categories, and does a little bit of everything in those counting stats. He had 25 fantasy points in 33 minutes, and he was at 7.2K the first time around. So I think he's got to be in your tournament player pool for sure. But on the whole, I think because of the matchup, there aren't any like just priority guys here, Mike, on this side of the ball. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons if you are liking what you are seeing. Show your broskies up here on screen some love. And we've been doing some big numbers in the subscriber. We love that, to see that when we see those new subscribers in there. And it's been great to see those numbers go up. Be a part of the Green Screens Media universe. Do your part in that universe, as I like to say, and smash those like and subscribe buttons. We are on our way to 800 subs. Do your part to get us there. Corey hopping in before we move on. Can't wait to see how them folks chasing Soriano's last game.
Yeah.
We do talk about making sure we're not game log watching. And I think a lot of, some people may like it, may like Soriano because of that. But that's tough to get to 8.6 with him. It's really tough to get there. So let's get to the next one here. Penn State on the road at Indiana. Mike Rhodes still figuring things out in his first year at Penn State, Mike, and really feels like Indiana needs a win to stay above water in the Big Ten. Which way do you want to go on this one?
Do I have to go? I guess I got to go somewhere.
Go Penn State. You take Penn State on this one. Take the Nittany Lions and have fun.
Oh, okay. So
have a blast.
Yeah. I mean, if Clary's out, like they're still running 10 guys out there. So, like there's Ace Baldwin. His price tag's pretty tough, 8.5 now, but he's played every single minute in the last 2 games. So tournament option only. Indiana's defense been pretty tough during conference play, so it's nothing thrilling on the road. Talking about Clary, I guess if he's in, I guess you could look at him. He's kind of been their offense this year. I don't think we really need to I don't think we really need to go to Clary, though. So we'll have to pay attention to that injury news and making sure that, obviously if you're trying to play him, it looks like we do have an update here. Remain sidelined for Saturday's game. There you go. So a boost to obviously DeMarco Dunn here at 5.3K, but I don't think we can play DeMarco Dunn at 5.3. At least I don't think I will. I mean, he's the guy that directly benefits from the Clary injury, and he went off in only, I think it was like 22 minutes. I just don't know that I want to pay like a premium price tag here. I mean, yes, the 32.8, but this is a road game. 4 stocks in that one. I don't feel great. Micah jumping in here saying, yeah, Clary's out. Clary and Xavier Johnson listed as out. Appreciate it. In money 421. So a little more clarity on the slate. Not sure if we have the Renew news yet, because obviously that's a big one as well. But overall, man, there's not much on this Penn State side I'm really liking. Like Zach Hicks at 4.7. He's on the floor a bunch, but he only has a 15% usage rate. So I don't think you need to use him at all. Unless you're playing like Ace Baldwin and just for his 40 minutes. And, now he's going to have to take a bunch of shots with Clary being out. I just don't know that there's really a need to go anywhere on the Penn State side, Jay. What say you on this Indiana side? Because we got all kinds of stuff going on this Indiana side.
We're gonna need to pay attention to the. Okay, so Johnson is out. We said, all right, so that's some good clarity. And then, like you said, the Renew news. Well, something we'll have.
Yeah,
I
don't think we have it yet. I'm trying to see if we can find it.
So yeah, hop on that. I'll get into the Hoosiers here. Kellel Ware. I don't even care. It doesn't matter to me about the news. This is a smash spot regardless of any news coming up before tip-off. Averaging over a fantasy point per minute on the year, coming off that 46 spot against Iowa.
Was that good?
I think that's okay. That's pretty good. It's pretty decent. 40 plus against Minnesota, Rutgers, and Nebraska. Big upside in this spot. And is going to be one of the more popular options that people are going to pay over $8K for. Renew. Waiting on that. Trey Galloway at 6.2 has pulse. Will be on the floor. 36 plus minutes.
All cardio.
In the last 4 games. All cardio team, and we love that. I just saw the notification across my screen that Renew is expected to play. Ooh. So that's live breaking right now. We got the Renew news right now. He's expected to play today. So at 7.4K, it's what are we thinking, Mike? Now that we know that he's going to be in there, is this something that we need?
Yeah, I mean, now he's in play, but man, like re-aggravation maybe. Like I don't know, dude. Like it's kind of scary. But he's in play because like we know that. I mean, he plays the Bigs crush Penn State, and I know Big Cliff didn't do it last game, but every other game. Bigs are destroying them. So yeah, Ware and Renew. I don't think it affects Ware.
It does.
I just don't think it affects him. So I don't mind playing either one. Renew for leverage, definitely.
No, but it makes it harder now to get to Anthony Walker though at 4.4.
Yeah,
like 16.5 and 17 in his last 2 games. And obviously again big against Penn State, right? But with Renew playing, it's going to be a little bit harder to get to Walker, even with that value. That might take somebody. I'm not saying ignore him, but right. it makes it harder to want to click him.
And Mama Rock's coming through with a good deal here. Anthony Leal, good last game. Any interest? I have a little interest. Yeah, there's just it sounds weird to say this. Like I would rather take shots on this Arkansas side. Maybe that's doing it wrong, but that's what everybody's going to do. But, man, he put up 26 in 21 minutes. He's no slouch. So, yeah. Now, with Renew being in, that hurts like a lot of people. It hurts a lot of the other guys. I don't think it really affects Ware as much because he's done his thing with Renew in the lineup before multiple times. But, Renew is just going to sop up so much. Renew's basically going to take his usage as well as Johnson's usage. So both of those guys in good spots. I just worry about the Renew injury. So yeah, not for me. I'd just rather go to the Arkansas value.
Yep, I'm with that. I'm with you on that one. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Keep the live chat rolling. Let's move on now to Virginia Tech and Miami. Virginia Tech, 2-point dogs on the road at Miami, Mike, with that 152-point total. So we're digging that total on this. This happens to be it's the second highest total on the slate, I believe, after TCU, Texas. So, Mike, start with the Hokies and their teeny tiny rotation.
Yeah, only 7 guys playing, so we love that. Sean Padula, 7.8, one of our core guys. I mean, he just destroyed Miami in their January matchup. 54.5. It's clearly a nice matchup for him. 32% usage rate in conference. I mean, he's a primary play in all formats. I've got him in, I think, 40% right now. Hunter Gucci Couture is 6.7. He plays the whole game, which is nice. Kind of like your all cardio guy as well. I don't know. I mean, he's so shot dependent that I just don't know that I can get to him. 6.7. There's so many guys around that at the guard position that I would rather play that have, I guess, higher ceilings. Now he offers a decent floor because he's out there and he does take a lot of shots, be a shot dependent. So more of a cash play due to his limited upside, but this is a spot for him. Miami gives it up to guards, so should get a lot of leverage off Padula if you decide to do that in the large field. Really, other than that, Jay, man, like, I mean, a lot of these guys play minutes like Robbie Barron and MJ Collins, but there's no like real reason to go to these guys. On the Miami side, man, we got to pay attention to this. I don't know if we have the Matthew Cleveland news. I'm trying to search it right now to find that out. I don't want to say key, but it would be nice if he was out for sure. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this Miami side?
Another one to pay attention to from the injury perspective. Some people like to say that Miami has more guards than Shawshank, but if Cleveland is out, it affects everyone. I'm going to start with Omier at 9.2. God, I wanted to get him at like 8.8, 8.9. This is a great matchup. I wanted to get him a little bit cheaper. This is big. It's a big price tag for Omier, so we'll see if we can get there. I'll have to work him in some. The matchup's too good, even at 9.2. Nigel Pack at 7.1K. Absolutely crushed the first time these two played. And the price, well, it was probably going to be pretty popular. I don't know popular, but he's really a tournament option only for the volatility because of that price. Wooga Wooga, Poplar, 6.9. Has gone 4X in his last 2 games. Don't know that we've seen the tourney upside we need at this price. So another guy to, because of the total, a secondary option to mix in with some of your core guys. And then George at 6.3K is probably the guy that I have the most interest in. Like, that's a big if, though, if Cleveland is out. Like, another one that now that we know that Renew is in, that's one that we were having to pay attention to. So we're going to have to pay the most attention here, I think, to Cleveland, because if he is out, George is somebody that we really need to consider here that can produce across the board. Before that dud last game, he went for 28.8 and 29.8. I can deal with that at 6.3K. But again, these are a lot of secondary guys to mix in. Nobody's really a primary play on this slate on this side of the ball. So, if you're digging around, I understand wanting to get into this game because of the total. So you can mix some of these mid-tier guys in, and Omier again at 9.2.
Yeah.
It's like, I would have loved him a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, to play Omier, you're gonna have to play Leighton Blocker and Kenyon Minifield together.
You are, and we talked about not really wanting to tip into those
Robinson.
waters too much. So yeah, exactly. And Chase Robinson, yeah. But did we hit on that comment earlier? I saw that we had.
Looks like Ryan
Anthony.
Schnabel here.
Ryan getting in there about Anthony Robinson playing with some sneaky value because of
Gates had nothing to lose playing him extended minutes. Actually have him. We're gonna talk about him in a minute. Actually have him in a lineup, a couple of them actually. So Anthony Robinson, another value play. We'll see. There's nothing really to play for the Tigers, so you might as well dust off some of these young guys and get them some run, and then also some news popping out here. Alex Caravan, he's getting up shots early. That's not really an update. So
yeah, it's good. At least he's out there trying right now. That's good. so no bad news is always good news. I think that's not good. That's not how it goes, but no bad news is good news for sure. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Show us some love. Let's jump over to South Carolina and Georgia, and basically a pick'em game. It's going to be a close one. And it's one of those totals under 140 points that we talked about earlier. Not a ton to be excited about, but still some guys we should pay attention to. Hit us with the South Carolina side, Mike.
The South Carolina dream is alive, man. What a win at Tennessee. These guys are absolutely balling right now. Now they go to Georgia, who they actually lost 69-74 a few weeks ago. BJ Mack, Michi Johnson, Talon Cooper, the guys that are going to have the ball in their hands and play minutes. So BJ Mack is 7.1. I think is an interesting tournament option. He had 24 fantasy points in 28 minutes against them. We know Georgia, they get crushed by bigs. I mean, they're dead last in the conference at giving up 54% for the opponent's 2-point percentage. Mack leads the team in shot rate. Because of the price, he's a secondary option. For some tournaments, I'm sprinkling him in. I'm really finding myself just a Michi Johnson. I love the price. I love that no one's probably going to go to him. He had nearly 30 fantasy points in 32 minutes at their first matchup. I just think he's a really solid tournament option at 6.6. So you can use either BJ Mack or Michi Johnson in this one at these mid-tier prices. Talon Cooper at 6.5. I mean, you nailed him, Jay, on the Kentucky game. But man, he only has a 15% usage rate and a 15% shot rate. So, I'd rather just use Michi for $100 more, just other options that are kind of in this range. Mama Rock's jumping in here saying, come on, dogs. We make fantasy goodness just usually for the other team. Absolutely, which is why I'm finding myself to some shares of BJ Mack and a healthy amount of shares of Michi Johnson. Other than that, though, I mean, I'm not getting to too many other spots on this team. I'm just trying to get to the two main high usage guys on the team. Jay, what are your thoughts on the Georgia side?
Yeah, it makes sense. When you have a pace up play, and you only have a couple of guys playing 30 minutes, it makes sense. Although every game is a pace up for South Carolina because they're 349th in tempo. So, I mean, that makes a difference, and it helps to know at least the guys to get to. Georgia now, they've settled down a little bit on their rotations, playing 8 guys, but it is a tough matchup. South Carolina's last in the SEC in tempo and third in defense, so it does make it tough to get to some of these guys. RJ Melendez at 7.1K got the start last game and followed up the 53 at Florida with 36 against Bama. He is absolutely firmly in play if he's getting 30 minutes, if he's anywhere around there. If he's sniffing 30, if he's sniffing 28, I think he's got to be in play. The shot volume and rebounding rates both continue to climb. Cash game, though, I don't think he's somebody that you mess with. Probably much more of a tournament play because you've seen the upside. It's there, especially with the minutes. Noah Thomason at 5.6. A little bit of a breakout against Bama. The price hasn't changed much, which you like. Taking lots of shots, but got to have the ball bounce his way in some of those other categories to pay off. Some counting stats are necessary for him to pay off that price. So again,
Mama Rocks likes him.
Another guy in the tournament. Thomason, probably the best play for Georgia. Yeah, he does chuck it, doesn't he? He does chuck.
Now he just needs the ball now he needs a magnet.
Yeah. No kidding. But yeah, a tournament option for sure. Mama Rocks, definitely with you there on Thomason there. That's about it out of this game, Mike. Really, not a lot else to get into. 137-point total here, but some guys that are going to play, and then some guys that tournament option wise with the volatility and the ceilings that you have are definitely in play. Make sure you get into that one and done invitational. The link's in the chat. A few more spots left there. $3 friendly fun there today on DraftKings. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Show us some love. Let's move on now to the old Fighting Shaka Smarts. 12-point road favorites against the abyss that is currently Georgetown Hoya basketball. We touched on this earlier. The last time these two faced off, Mike, it was UGLY. They ain't got no alibi. It was ugly, and that's all there is to it. Marquette and Georgetown here.
My lineups are praying that Georgetown can somehow keep this under 15. Just somehow,
Just a little.
please. Yeah, we had the 30-point blowout could happen again. But it's on the road, right? We're going with the road factor. Marquette running the 7-man rotation. Cam Jones, I don't think he's going to – I don't – like, what? Why would they play him in this spot? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't think we have the news if he's in. Doesn't look great, and this is kind of a spot where they don't need him to play. This can be handled by one of my favorites, Tyler Kolek at 9.3. Should be able to just absolutely smash these guys again at 40 fantasy points in 31 minutes. He has 50 if this game stays within like that 10 to 15 range. I mean, just massive usage, massive assist rate, has 3% steal rate. I mean, just came off the 61 spot against Villanova. Got the price increase, but you know what? Since there's a lot of value options on the board, I'm finding myself to some 9.3 Tyler Kolek and a pretty healthy dose of it. Also, Oso, who was in our cash core here. I mean, it's kind of like that GIF. Like, he can't keep doing it. I can't keep getting away with this. Like, he's just doing it, man. 29 or more.
Getting away with this.
Yeah, 29 or more in the last 8. So obviously, this is a really nice spot here. The aforementioned many a time per value Chase Ross, 4.1. Obviously, we need Cam. Even if Cam Jones is in, I think he's unfortunately 100% of my lineups right now. If Cam Jones is in, I will be maybe at 20%. It's maybe 25. I shouldn't be fully scared, right? Because this is a smash spot for these guys.
Yep.
So he'll be playing a ton of minutes, playing a good amount of minutes, even if Cam Jones is in. I just don't see it happening that Cam Jones is in, but it's college basketball. I'm never surprised by anything. But if Cam Jones is out, he's basically a free square on the slate. So every time we have a free square, though, don't be surprised if he gets injured or has a 7 fantasy point day. So that's just the way it works. So yeah, man.
Anything else on that side?
I just I'm looking at like the thing is like I want to pay all the way up or I want to go all the way to the bottom. Like Joplin, Mitchell, like these guys, there's just not. I don't know why I would need to go there unless you want to get different in the large field, but I don't think you have to, man. What say you on this Georgetown side, man?
Yeah, 7-man rotation and Epps plays every minute. Micah hopping in the live chat there. Is Jaden Epps smashing today or am I a sick person? We're all a little bit sick because we have to be to live this DK life, of course, but I don't think you're a sick person at all. They lost. Obviously, we talked about the blowout last time these two teams played, so it's hard to take away anything from that necessarily. But what we do know is at 8.1K, the incredible usage and shot rates for Epps. It's the volatile, right? There's no guarantees here with Epps, even with the usage and shot rates. But this is Georgetown. It's hard to really figure out
if they're going to be competitive.
Yeah, if it's even going to be close. So, but it's hard to ignore those rates, Micah, for sure. So I think he does have to be a tournament option for you. He's got to be in your player pool. Supreme Cook, Bigs tend to beat up on Marquette a little bit, but not as much lately. It feels like that's sort of trended the other direction. And I would like him closer to 6K, 6.2K. If I was going to play him, I'd rather go to other spots here at this price. Now, Wayne Bristol got the start.
Here we go.
Yep. It's happening. I'm bringing it up here. Okay, I understand why you may feel that way because you look at the rates and it's talk about ugly. But yeah, he's gonna need 30+ minutes to get to 4X. But if we're playing the game, if you could tell me, what if I told you Wayne Bristol would get 32 minutes today? Then you love the value spot. But somebody to tinker around with there. Marquette did beat the brakes off of him last game on the Rocks. That is correct. So we'll see if this time Georgetown has a little bit of pride at home. Moving on now, let's pick up the pace a little bit here. Northwestern 1-point favorites on the road at Minnesota, 141-point implied total here. Northwestern plays their guys a ton of minutes. And of course, it's Boo Booey. If you get that reference, you definitely watch our top 20 over on TikTok and YouTube, our top 20 players heading into the season. So make sure you're following us on TikTok at Get Green Screens. Follow us on Twitter at One and Done CBB for the show page and at Get Green Screens. Every once in a while, we're dropping some stuff over there, so make sure you're following us there. But yeah, Boo Booey for Northwestern at 8.9. He's been so good, like absolutely. I love this guy. We've loved him from the jump. 47, 35, and 50 in his last 3 games. Minnesota is 247th in opponent assist rate, and Bowie has that 30%. Yeah, Bowie with a 30% assist rate, or assist percent, assist rate. Yeah, for Northwestern. So, yeah, gotta love that. Brooks Barnhizer at 8.2. He's gonna play. Has pulse on the cardio team. 28 plus in 10 of the last 14 games. He's an absolute lock on cash games for sure. Ty Berry at 6.6. Every now and then could pop off. If for some reason you fill in your lineup and you got 6.6K, maybe a last man in option there for you. But I'd rather put my focus on Bowie and Barnhizer in this one. You love that the starters are out there forever, Mike. There's no doubt about it on this side of the ball who's going to be on the court. So tell us about Minnesota here. Is it as clear cut for the Gophers here? Hey, did the Gophers did not see their shadow yesterday? That's wrong. That's Groundhog, not Gophers.
I actually watched Groundhog Day last night, man.
Love it.
In preparation for the slate. Such a good movie.
Love it. Tell us about the Gophers, though.
Yeah, I think you can look at Dawson Garcia, 7.8. I mean, Northwestern's dead last in defensive efficiency in conference. I mean, he plays big minutes. He has a 30% usage and shot rate. Rebounding upsides there. He's in play for both cash and tourney, just more of a secondary option. I think Elijah Hawkins is kind of sneaky. He's 7.7. I love the assist upside he provides. I wish he was about $500 cheaper, but also it kind of makes me happy because I don't think a lot of people are going to go here. So more of a secondary tournament option, but I found him in a couple of my lineups just to kind of be different. It's probably going to take one of these, 6.8 to 8.2 guys that's, a 5% or 3% that goes off that could be the difference in the slate. So outside of that, I mean, I know we're looking at the Ferrell Payne news. It just, if he's in, like it's a 9-man rotation, I still just want to go to Garcia and Hawkins. And if he's out, it makes me like Garcia a little bit more just because it gives him a little more rebounding upside. So yeah, I mean, that's really about it on the Minnesota side, man. Like this game in general, it's okay, I guess. It's not as exciting as some of these other games, or just kind of secondary options for me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Not a ton to just latch onto in this one, but definitely some options to consider. Hey, for those of you that are into numbers, and of course you're watching us, so you like the little money numbers. But for us, well, we just cleared a new record for people watching us live on YouTube. We appreciate you being a part of that. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you're liking what you're seeing. Tell the hoop heads in your life about your one and done boys here, and show us some love. Hit that subscribe button as well, and those notification bells too. Yeah, Leon hopping in, classic movie. Watching that one last night too. Groundhog Day. Yeah, for sure.
So good.
Always a good one. And another classic, the old Happy Gilmore. We lost Carl Weathers yesterday, who played Chubbs Peterson. R.I.P. to old Carl Weathers there. Obviously, also big part of the Rocky series as well. So another classic movies to watch after the slate today with no NFL. Really, not a lot else going on. Yeah, thanks, Leon. Thanks for the love there on the congratulations there on the breaking those records there. So thanks, appreciate that, Leon. Let's move on now to the Big 12. It's the Big 12. Go play intramurals, brother. That K-State on the road in Stillwater, which nobody else goes to Stillwater except to play Oklahoma State for any reason. Especially, I don't know how much we're going to be going here in this one with this 131-point total either. I'm going to lead off here with the Wildcats of Kansas State. 10-man rotation, but we know the big three get all the run. First matchup at Kansas State was 70-66.
Medea.
So, yeah, no, not that Tyler Perry, Mike. This is not Bua Medea's Halloween. This is Tyler Perry, the guard, coming in at 7K flat. No need to worry. My accountant handles that. Bounce back against Oklahoma for 35 fantasy points. Oklahoma State has the second worst defense in the Big 12. You got to like that in this matchup. Only 20 fantasy points in 30 minutes. First time around against the old Cowpokes. And the total is ugly, so he is only a secondary option. Ryan, it is all in the hips. Baby, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. That's right, Ryan. Appreciate that. Hopping in there. Yeah, hey, Jody, I know we're doing this right in the middle of a Kansas State breakdown, but Jody, good to see you in that
What's up,
live
Jody?
chat as always. Thanks for hopping in there. We are going to cash in together. That's right. Mama Rocks, woo! Congrats on the crowd we're made. Thank you so much for doing that. Right there. Mama Rocks for hopping in there. I'm going to move on to Arthur Kaluma now at 6.8. Oklahoma State can absolutely not defend the 2-point shot. Kaluma excels at attacking the rim, but he's been bad, right? Like he just hasn't been good
So
lately.
bad.
So I don't think he's going to be very popular here. So a very, very strong contrarian option here in some tournament play. If you're paying attention to the other matchups like we like to do, he did go off for 47 first time around. So a big, I don't think he's going to be above 3 or 4% owned in this slate. So definitely a strong contrarian option there. Cam Carter, 6.7K, has taken the most 2-point field goal attempts on the team. So a bump there because of Oklahoma State's 2-point percentage conceded. Outside of that, he's been pretty bad. Another guy that hasn't been playing really well in his last 5. Only had 22.5 fantasy points in the first matchup, but a good tournament option there. Mike, what about the Cowpokes? Not a big rotation there.
Yeah, we also lost Thompson, man. So out with that torn labrum. Now it's going to be 7 to 8 man rotation. Love Javon Small at 7.7, 37 minutes, 37 fantasy points in the first matchup. Thinking he kind of gets roughly the similar deal, and that's almost 5x. So definitely like Javon Small, especially in tournament settings. John Michael Wright, he's 5.3. He posted 34 minutes last game. He only had 19 fantasy points in 29 minutes at Kansas State. Man, he's another guy. We got to talk about that $500 too cheap, or too expensive. Like I feel like that's right where JMW is. If he was 4.8, I would consider him in tournaments. I just can't get there. And then Mama Rock's dropping in here talking about Connor Dow. Actually, I do like me some Connor Dow. Now he doesn't take a ton of shots. I mean, he's cheap. He did start last game. 14 fantasy points, 30 minutes. He didn't even make a shot, and he attempted 4 threes. That was it. So he's got some tournament intrigue.
Dude,
but
at this price, with every 3,
yeah,
like that,
yeah,
it's got to be in play.
Yeah, 1x, like just saying, well, if he gets 2 threes, you're halfway there. Whoa! All right, but you really are living on a prayer right there. Jesus.
Very good.
I'm
loving this. I'm rubbing off on you. I love it.
All right, here's the thing I'm looking for. A freshman, Jamarion Keller. He's 3K. If in a weird twist of events, like they don't have really anything to play for this year, if he were to get the start, I would find him really interesting. Like if you go back and look at some of his earlier performances in the year, he was actually getting some run off the bench for them. Obviously condensed rotations within the last 2, 3, 4 weeks. He hasn't really played all that much. I'm going to watch for Oklahoma State's lineups on Twitter. And if it happens to be one of those deals where, he's listed in the starting lineup, I think he is such an – so if you're not playing Arkansas value, I think saving a spot where maybe a 2-man spot where you have kind of some placeholders in the 1 o'clock. Maybe one that's kind of a higher mid-tier play and then one that's maybe a lower mid-tier to where if news comes in that Keller's playing, I just think it's kind of interesting for tournaments. You can take that lower mid-tier player, get him out, slot in Keller, and now you can play one of the studs from the late part of the slate. I think that's an interesting way to do it. It's not safe at all. I just find it interesting and a way to get different from the Arkansas value, and we would obviously need to know that he's starting to do that. But Connor Dow, probably the play, the premier play as far as value on this side.
I love it. I love the tinfoil theories trying to get guys with 3K into the lineup. Like, how can we do that? It would be intriguing. So pay attention to that one for sure, and maybe pop Keller in if he's going to start. Let's move on now to another Big 12 showdown as Rodney Terry takes his team to Fort Worth to take on TCU. I'm not going to go on my normal Rodney Terry rant because we're pressed for time today at Live for Lock, and we don't really have the time to do it. So let's just go ahead. TCU 5-point favorites at home against the Longhorns. Highest total on the slate, ladies and gents. Texas has an 8-man rotation with 4 starters getting big minutes, and TCU is 10th in defensive efficiency during Big 12 conference play. So, that being said, Max Abmas, 26% shot rate and a 23% assist rate. He's one of the best players in the country, period, hands down. 7.6. I like him at this price a little bit more than we were having to pay above 8K for him for a while and higher. TCU is also 310th in assist rate. So, like the matchup here, things are lining up for Abmas. Got to mix him in a little bit. Dessou at 7.5. TCU is absolutely getting crushed inside, giving up 55% from 2 here. So with the minutes that he's playing, the upside of 40 or 50 points, it's there. Like it's real, and he's somebody you have to consider at this price, especially if people are spending up with the 14 or 15, I can't remember how many guys we said above 8K earlier.
It's like
16,
yeah.
Right? So if you can get a guy with this upside at 7.5, it's somebody you have to consider. It's been up and down for Tyrese Hunter this year. I think he's in play for tournaments with 30-point upside, fantasy point upside, and you love the assist rate, but the shot volume's down over the last few games. And then somebody that has really found a way to be on the court with in Kendall Weaver. Another value option here. You know he's going to play in the mid-20s in minutes. He's got the new role. He's on the court. Before the Houston game, he had 26 and 21. He did get love after the game from Kelvin Sampson, oddly enough. He's like Kelvin Sampson, like
right.
by name, called out Weaver and the type of player that he is. He's earned that playing time. 4.4K and the highest per-digit total on the slate is at least worth a couple of thoughts. Mike, hit the Horned Frogs side here with TCU.
Yeah, I think really it's 2 guys. Manuel Miller, 7.3, obviously a core play for us. He's just a guy that goes out and gets value, 4x basically with 5 to 6x upside. Especially, I can't believe this is the highest total on the board. This kind of tells you how weird of a slate this is. Neither team great defensively in conference play. So you can play him in cash. I don't mind playing him in tournaments. He leads the team in shot rate. The other guy I would look to is Trevion Tennyson. He's 6.2. He's really kind of forced his way onto the floor. I mean, he brings shooting, which they desperately needed, really being able to stretch the floor. He has a high steal rate. He's a great player at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, got them to the tournament last year, and now has kind of pushed Jermaine Nelson Jr., even Avery Anderson, some of these guys kind of to the side, and he's playing low 30s minutes. So I think he's a sneaky tournament option. Micah Peavy, he has good rates across the board. He went 33, 29, 25, 25 in the last 4. Nothing exciting for tournaments, I would say. Cash, I guess, if you want to go there. But really, man, for me, like it's really Miller, and then I'm looking at Tennyson in some spots. So I know this next game, Jay. Every time we get these guys on the slate, it tends to be a little ugly.
Yeah, talk about spitting in the stew of an otherwise pretty nice slate. 126-point total here between Virginia and Clemson. Not a lot going on here. Virginia does have that 9-man rotation, but 4 starters are getting 27, 28, 29, 30-plus minutes. So you like that. Really only here for me, it's Reese Beekman at 8.3. We talked about him earlier. He's always a cash game option. The floor is just so nice from that perspective. 30-plus fantasy points and 10 of the last 15. But, like the Virginia pace, 361st in tempo. When it comes to tournaments, I'll probably look somewhere else. I'm not going to be around Beekman, but cash game wise, you love him. And then Ryan Dunn is the opposite of that, like the polar opposite, really. A boom bust tournament option only at 7.2. Looking at the totals, just 12, 39, 42, 30, 18. Woo. Talk about a roller coaster here for Dunn. But at 7.2, if you can, even that 30 range. So basically, like 3 out of the last 4 gets you there with Ryan Dunn. But then you look at that 12, and we like to say that little guy. Don't worry about that little guy. But we do need to worry about those little guys with Dunn a little bit here. What about the Tigers, Mike? What about Clemson?
Yeah, man, there's not much here like old PJ Hall to 8.8 against Virginia. Virginia, I mean, used to struggle against bigs. That's not really a thing right now. I don't like the total. I don't like the price. I hate playing guys against Virginia. I mean, he's not going to be owned. So, I mean, we know he has big upside, right? So if you want to get like the 1 or 2% in the large field, with 50 fantasy point upside. Now everything has to go his way in this matchup, right? And they kind of have to revert back to giving up massive fantasy points to that position. But PJ Hall, like a large field option, Joe Girard, Chase Hunter, like all these other guys, man. And the Girard sitting there at 6.5. I don't want to play these type of guards against Houston and Virginia. I mean, look, we're going to talk about like their defense is awesome, but I'm okay with a really good defense. But when their pace is this slow, you cannot generate. That's why Houston is so annoying. Like, don't play people against Houston because it's just one, they just bleed the clock. It's the same thing with Virginia. So their defenses are awesome, and they don't play at any type of pace to where even if they get multiple defensive stops, you don't have those extra possessions to keep racking up fantasy points. So nothing really on this side. Like Chauncey Wiggins, I mean, 4.7, like he's in the value territory, right? I mean, he's 3-point dependent. Like if you're playing 150 lineups and you just want something else in your value pool, like you want one, like 1 out of 150, I guess, but I just don't see a reason to go to Clemson.
What an endorsement there of Wiggins. If you want to play 1
in this spot
lineups, okay, all right, in this spot, sure. Yeah, he'd have to be probably around 4K flat or 4.2 for me to consider Wiggins to even be playable. But we'll see. It's tough to play anybody against Virginia. So last 2 games here before we get out of here for this awesome slate. Missouri on the road at Vandy, 2-point favorites, a 138-point implied total here. And again, if you're unfamiliar, all these totals that we're talking, these are KenPom numbers that we like to use when we use efficiency numbers, rates, and things like that. These are KenPom's figures that we go off of. I'm gonna start with Missouri. Outside of a couple of guys, there's a lot of volatility. Only a 9-man rotation here. Tamar Bates at 8K flat.
That's a big price tag.
Eric likes to talk about the big jumps and then the very slow declines in price. And this is something that we're seeing here in Bates. He did drop 45 against Arkansas, so I get it, but I don't think you can play him at 8K flat, I should say. Just super shot dependent. Sean East at 7.4, 24% usage, 23% shot, 25% assist, 2% steal, plays big minutes. So the floor is obviously higher than Bates and has the same type of a 30 to 40 type of a ceiling. East is probably the only play I'm looking at for the Tigers. Anthony Robinson is, I guess, if you wanted to jump into a value option here, 19 fantasy points in 20 minutes last game. So, again, another one of those young guys that for a team just looking for a spark.
Oh, future.
Yeah, exactly. Robinson is somebody that we could take a look at there. It's tough though. I mean, I guess value, right? Like 4.3, last guy in. If you're looking to fill in somebody, Robinson is somebody to consider there for the Tigers. What about Vanderbilt, Mike?
I mean, I guess I'll talk about their 2 guards. Tyron Lawrence, like he's priced right. I mean, he's a tournament option. We know he has like 35 to 40 in his bag. He hasn't really done anything recently. I mean, 2 for 11 last game. This is they okay. What's crazy? They've had a tough schedule over the last 4 games. So it's not like you look at their game log and you're like, okay, like these guys are doing absolutely nothing. But to be quite fair, like they've played Auburn twice in the last 4. Okay, the last 5 games, they went to Ole Miss, home against Auburn, on the road at Mississippi State, home against Tennessee, and then on the road against Auburn. You're not going to put up that many fantasy points. It's just not going to happen. So I think Lawrence and Ezra Mannion at 6.3 are certainly in play in a spot where Missouri don't play no defense. I mean, they're 149th in the country and pretty terrible in conference. So I think Mannion is super interesting. Using him in some tournaments, Missouri, like I said, just susceptible to giving up big games to the guard position. So definitely don't mind it. And our guy Brock jumping in here saying, popped in to say, good luck, fellas, and sorry, I'll have to take down the quali today. Come on, Brock, man. That's all right, man. We're rooting for you as well, but your boy's in there, so I'm gonna be trying to get my seat for sure.
Yeah, get it. Thanks for hopping in, Brock. We'll see you up on those leaderboards, I'm sure. But thanks for dropping in that live chat for sure. Our guy Brock, we love Brock. It's absolutely fantastic. And the production team even gave Brock the old ticker there. Did you see that, Mike? Did you see that, Papa? There it is. We love.
we're already celebrating.
We already know that guy. What a guy. Thanks, Brock. We appreciate you as always. Is this the last one here, Mike? Last game? We rolled through this stuff. Oh, yeah, it is. Very good. Very good. Yep. Utah State, 4-point dogs at those old Aztecs of San Diego State, 146-point total. So not bad on this slate. I'm going to start with Utah State. 8 guys checking in for them, but all 4 of their starters, or I'm sorry, not all 4, there's 5, but 4 of the starters are playing 35-plus minutes. Osobor at 9.7, one of the best players in the country, 42, 41, 39 in his last 3 with the rates that you love to see, 29% usage, 33% rebound, 16% assist, 4% block. And the only thing for me that's a little bit concerning is the price in this matchup. You know, like paying up for that with San Diego State being as good of a defensive team as they are. These are 2 really good defensive teams, honestly.
A price king, man.
Yeah, but the price king with this total, I don't know. It's a little bit concerning in this matchup. Darius Brown at 7.5K, big minutes and big assist rates, but I think we can work him in as a secondary play, Darius Brown, that is. And then Martinez at 7K flat, kind of dependent on the 3-point shooting here. But what you do like is what you've seen in the floor of the last 5, 29, 25, 37, 32, and 41. Most of those totals get you there at this price for what we're going to probably need to win this, win that seat, win a big tournament. So don't mind Martinez as a secondary tournament option. Mike, anything interesting on the San Diego State side of the ball for you?
Yeah, I mean, looking at Jaden Ledee, 8.5. He brought up Osobor. Like, it's crazy to pay 9.7 for Osobor when Ledee's 8.5. And I mean, they're both just one of them's gonna. I can't wait to watch this game. 1, but 2, it feels like one of them's gonna get the other one in trouble. So it's gonna be a fantastic matchup. I'll sprinkle in some Ledee. I don't feel great about it. I actually feel really good about Lamont Butler. This is the time of year where he really starts to turn it on. I love him as a tournament play. He's been really good in the last few games. Condensing rotations here. Him and Trammell, they're the key to this thing. Obviously, Ledee is their star player. But Butler and Trammell, man, like the reason why they got to where they were last year, obviously on strong defense, but really those 2 guys, man, shouldering the load offensively and running that offense. So Trammell at 5K, I feel like if you love when he's like 4.2, 4.4, now you're talking 5K.
Yeah.
You're really just going to want to take shots on the Arkansas guys and guys like Anthony Robinson and Wayne Bristol, unfortunately, and Connor Dow at 3.9. You want to squeeze every dollar out, right? So it's hard to get to Trammell. Even though he's kind of he's even more of a safer option, and he's got upside. Like he's got 22 to 25 upside, and I think he's a good play in this slate. It's just tough to get to him because you want to get to the Koliks. You want to get to the Beekmans and Cash. You want to get to, the Texas guys are expensive, the Emmanuel Millers, the just the 8K guys, right? And the only way to kind of get there is to pay down for those high 3K guys that we are terrified of doing. So definitely like Trammell, but I really, really like Lamont Butler here. So appreciate the question there, Ryan. I'm in for it. If you can get him in, definitely. Here's Brock coming back in. Stance on taking the studs in this game. We'll pop it. Sub 5% ownership, or you'll see me at the bottom of contest. Okay, yeah. Okay,
take a stand.
All right, if he's on the studs, man. Osabor and Osabor. I don't know, man. However you say his name. I say it wrong every time I say it. So Big O. Big O. Right. Great O. Great O. And
are we trying to win $5 or are we trying to win $5?
That's true.
So I mean, like you're gonna have to take a chance one way or the other. So it is important to take a stand. We see a bunch of people flooding in right now watching this live before lock as we approach this. We're going to get you out of here pretty quick. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Turn on the notification bells for your broskies so you know when we're going live and you don't miss us. You don't come in at 10:26 Central Time, 11:26 Eastern Time. So get in earlier so you know when we're going live. We are going to go back now to our core fours. Before we do, drop your comments and questions in the chat. Your last man in, 2v2 decisions, whatever it is, drop it in the chat right now as we recap our DFS core fours for cash games and tournament play. Drop those comments in like Dimitri just did. Go Tar Heels, beat Duke. Yeah, appreciate that, Dimitri Dash. Good to see you in that live chat. So we are going to do our core fours here again. So Mike, you hit the cash game core four on the when we opened up this fine Saturday morning. So give us the cash game core four one more time.
Yeah, man. Going back to the Marquette and Chase Ross at 4,100. Still haven't seen the Cam Jones news, but regardless, I still feel like he's kind of the safest value option that's out there, which is another reason it's hard to get to Trammell, right? But Chase Ross at 4,100. Also, Iguodala at 8,400. He's just been so good, so consistent. Reese Beekman at 8,300 for Virginia. Consistency, high floor. Sean Padula, you love the shot rate, just crushing it. Awesome matchup against Miami at 7,800. So you're getting 5,350 there left per player. So definitely love that for sure. And then, you may or may not in cash want to take some shots at the Arkansas value guys. It's a little tough. I would say if you're gonna do it in cash or double ups, 50-50s, I would say make sure you see the starting lineup. I would rather play the guys they're starting for Arkansas, just because they're at least I've seen the floor one time. They're going to have at least one rotation on the floor versus being benched or whatever the hell ends up happening in that game, which is going to be the key to the slate. So, man, what say you as we recap this core for tournaments?
Well, I see Leon hanging out there in the old chat there. Go Heels. We must be popular in North Carolina. A lot of Tar Heels love this chat going. And then Brock wanted to drop his core in there. Great O, Ladini Ross and Menifield. Ooh, I mean, I like it. We didn't get Cam's core for today, which is like Cam didn't drop in there. Yeah, if you ain't first, you're last. You're damn right on that one. Keep them coming. We got a couple minutes before we get out of here. I'm going to give you our tournament core four. Now, again, these core four are guys that we think you should work into your lineups and rotate these guys into the beginning of your lineups to work around. The tournament core four was Kel Elware at 8.2K, Tyler Kolek, and I'm going to that Marquette well too here, but just on the other side of it for the volatility here. Tyler Kolek at 9.3, Emmanuel Miller for TCU at 7.3K, and yes, talk about some Arkansas love here. Layden Blocker hopping in there in the tournament core four at 3.9. Who knows? He hits a couple of threes and goes off. We are swimming in it. Oh, Cam says he's driving. All right. Well, thanks.
Well, hold on. You can drive, but how does he not? Voice to text, I'm assuming.
Yeah, voice to text. We know you're being safe out there, Cam. We appreciate you being on the road and still following us, just like our guy likes to do. I always forget, who is it was it Jeremy that's on the forklift out there?
Yeah, Jeremy Wilson, man.
Jeremy watching us on the forklift. Cam watching us on the road, at least not watching because he's driving, but having us hanging out there with us. Hey, did you do your part in the Green Screens universe today? Help us out. We are on our way towards 800 subs, and hitting that subscribe button would mean a lot to your broskies in basketball. Do your part in the Green Screens media universe here. Any more questions? Oh, we do have one, Micah, in there. One more before Micah. What's the ideal Texas TCU stack? Any thoughts on that, Mike?
Yeah, I would go to Dessou, take advantage of that TCU weak interior defense, giving up nearly 55% from 2. I would also, if you're looking for like a heavy stack, maybe a 2v2, then I'm throwing in Kendall Weaver with them. He's going to get the mid-20s minutes. And then on the other side, we flip it. I love Emmanuel Miller at that 7.3 price tag, high upside, 40 fantasy point upside in this spot. And Trevion Tennyson, he's just been pretty good this year. He's playing 30 minutes. Shoots the 3-ball, which Texas has struggled all season containing the opponent 3-ball. So I don't know that you have to go 2v2, but that's a heavy stack if you think this game goes over. Maybe it goes into overtime for sure.
Love it. Thanks, Micah, for asking that question. We're going to get out of here now. Mama Rock's great show, and go Dogs. Oh, man, we have a big following over there on the East Coast for sure. Mama Rock's checking in there. Yeah, everybody, an absolute banger of a show today, everybody. Look at everybody dropped in the chat. Mama Rocks, Jody, Cam, Taylor, Napesy Hustle, Ryan S. It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Micah, M Money 421, Leon, Corey, who our guy Corey is the king of the single entry, of course. Anthony G, Brock, who is apparently going to win the quali today. Witz was in there. Jason B, BD816, Jeremy Wilson, Playmaker 23, Dimitri, seeing you in there. Tommy Kramer, M Money. Hey, woo! That's right, baby. Let's see. I have trouble with Rodney Terry, but let's see if they can get it done today. Tommy Kramer, no football this weekend. That's right, but basketball is on. We're doing it. Leon dropping in, great show. Micah also with the Go Dogs, and then Napesy Hustle, hitting those fire emojis. Thank you for hanging out with your bros today and watching a little One and Done. Hit those like and subscribe buttons. Turn those notification bells on so you don't miss a minute of this college basketball coverage. Follow your boys on X, at Dr. William Cannon, the captain over there, at MC Holland 34, at The Real Napier, at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets, at One and Done CBB, of course, for the show page, at Get Green Screens for Green Screens Media on YouTube, on Twitter, and over there on TikTok. Tell somebody you love them. Take care of yourself, most importantly. Let's go out there. Let's win this quali. Let's get in that One and Done Invitational if you haven't already. Let's go out there today and let's get this bread.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drrodo.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.